Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Mark and Stuart, for putting on this event. To my knowledge, it's the first of its kind in Australia, and it's a great opportunity for organisations that are in the semiconductor or MEMS. We're not specifically a semiconductor business, but we're a MEMS business with core technology, but we use silicon fabrication to make our devices. This morning, I'd like to give you an introduction to BlueChiip and what we do. We're a Melbourne-listed company, Melbourne-based company listed on the ASX, and we've been around for a little while, but we're very focused on the medical device marketplace and market. So I'll give you an overview. What I've got here is rather than necessarily talking, they say a picture says 1,000 words, a video maybe says 1,000,000. So I've got a video here that's going to run for about 5 minutes. It gives you an overview, it gives you some images of what we're actually talking about in the market that we're entering, and it should give you a good introduction.
BlueChiip Limited is an Australian company with a technology that wirelessly tracks the identification and temperature of valuable samples such as tissue, blood, serum and plasma, which are stored in harsh and aggressive environments like liquid nitrogen.
People would be appalled at the current practices in biological storage. Labels change property and the label actually falls off the sample in store, so you can't identify it anymore. Take barcodes. They've got frost on them, so you can't read them. You have to actually rub them with your finger to remove the frost to identify the sample. That's got massive issues because it can heat the sample and cause a delay in time to retrieve the sample.
Headquartered in Melbourne, Australia, BlueChiip listed on the Australian Securities Exchange in 2011. Since then, it has further developed its technology, signing original equipment manufacturing agreements with large companies worldwide to embed the BlueChiip technology in their products.
There's a wide range of very valuable items that are stored in low temperature conditions. These include blood, plasmas, serums, IVF, sperm and eggs, pharmaceutical molecules used in the development of pharmaceutical products, all of which would benefit greatly from utilising the BlueChiip technology.
The BlueChiip technology centres on a miniature chip with 52 mechanical beams of different lengths, all responding at different frequencies. Each is turned on or off at the point of manufacture to create a unique identification with billions of combinations. BlueChiip's technology is protected by 24 granted patents and 3 current applications. Samples can be tracked individually or as large groups.
We have a range of products including the BlueChiip core technology. We've got handheld readers, we've got multi-vial readers, and we've also got a centralised database which includes a history of the sample and its temperature. This is our handheld reader. It allows a user to mobily walk around a facility identifying a sample and its temperature.
And the technology overcomes many disadvantages of traditional tracking methods.
There's a huge gap in the marketplace for BlueChiip technology. Current practices in biorepositories are completely outdated. 50% of the marketplace is still using handwritten labels, and barcodes are used, but they can't be read because of the frost. BlueChiip addresses each of these issues and actually provides productivity, quality and usability improvements.
Crucially, BlueChiip's technology works in the harshest of environments, like liquid nitrogen.
It's minus 196 degrees C, and standard properties of materials and molecules change their behaviour in those conditions. You need an extremely robust solution to identification to operate in those conditions.
BlueChiip's business plan is to partner with external product manufacturers, which will embed the technology into their products.
We currently have 3 licensing agreements with OEM partners. Genea Biomedics, an IVF company in Sydney that manufactures medical devices for the IVF marketplace. Planet Innovation, a global innovator in the medical devices space. And Labcon North America, a very large consumable manufacturer based in the San Francisco Bay Area. Last year, they manufactured 1.5 billion consumables for the global life science marketplace.
In December 2017, the company received an order from Labcon North America for more than $1 million worth of chips, readers and associated software, which it is currently fulfilling. 8 months later, in August 2018, BlueChiip signed a 3-year $11.6 million US supply deal with Labcon, vindicating both BlueChiip's technology and expansion plans.
Labcon North America is extremely important to us. They are the first of our license partners that is taking product to market. We have orders in hand at the moment for 1.1 million US this financial year. Next financial year, that's 3.1 million US. And then the third year, they've got a minimum commitment for $7.4 million US. We're scaling our manufacturing on that longer term supply agreement, and that's very, very important to us to give us the confidence to invest in that scaling.
While tracking biological samples is the company's current target, other broader applications are on the horizon.
Outside our current target marketplace in the biopreservation space, we've got the life science marketplace, which includes pharmaceutical products, it includes blood products, it includes vials and capsules. We've also got defence applications and cold chain logistics into the food marketplace and anti-counterfeiting markets. The future for BlueChiip is extremely exciting. We've got orders in hand from existing OEM partnerships to which we're scaling our production and our capacity to meet that demand. We've got new opportunities that are presenting themselves to BlueChiip, and we would see them converting, especially in the life science space, but we would expect in the next 2 to 3 years to see that expand outside of that space and those adjacent opportunities. It's an extremely exciting time for BlueChiip.
I like playing the video. That was shot about 6 weeks ago, and that's a facility in Melbourne. And just to give an idea of scale of the market that we're entering, and I'll cover this in detail, but you know, that shot where it pans through and it's showing liquid nitrogen tanks, stainless steel tanks. Each of those tanks contain about 20 to 30,000 samples, and there's about 30 tanks in that facility. That's an Australian facility. I was in Shanghai last week at a conference. There's 25 million people in Shanghai alone. Australia itself is 25 million people, so hey, there's a massive scale. So, you know, it's a market that's quite a unique niche, but it is a large market and it's a very, very rapidly growing market. So in terms of BlueChiip, our highlights really are that we've got a world-first, highly differentiated technology. There is no technology in the marketplace that does what we do. And it is a niche market, so that we're targeting at the moment, but it's a large niche market. There's $200 million specifically for BlueChiip technology going into biopreservation space. There's 300 million samples going to store a year, and that's rapidly growing. And it's expanding, that market's expanding as cell therapies come online, as is a massive explosion in genetic technologies that are coming in the life science space. So that's rapidly growing. And we have some very large adjacent markets. So while we deal with biological sample storage, we also deal with, we can deal with blood products. We resist radiation, we survive radiation, so there's some defence applications that we can enter, and it's a very exciting space. We've got a dramatically increasing partner pipeline, and I'll cover this in a lot of detail. We changed our strategy about 3 to 4 years ago, and we've now engaged with over 32 companies that are well and truly aware of our technology and how it can be embedded into their products. We're scaling production. We've moved into a phase where, you know, out of R&D, we're fully into commercialisation. We're scaling our production over the next year to two to meet that demand from our customers. And we've got conversion of those opportunities that we've identified, chased, targeted, and we've got 3 license and supply agreements in place. We've got growing partner supply. That's calendar year 18, 300,000 chips. We've supplied another 100,000 chips to date this calendar year, and we've got orders in hand for over 1 million chips, but growing very rapidly in the next 2 to 3 years. Year-on-year growth, you know, we've got small revenue. Last year we did, well, the first half of this year we did, what, 497,000 in revenue. It's still quite small, but it's growing, and we're pretty much doubling year on year, and we will see that accelerating. And really importantly, and I highlighted in the video that Labcon's an important partner for us. They're the first company that we've partnered with that's actually got product in the market, and they've got demand on us and minimums moving forward. And in September last year, we raised 7.5 million capital, so we're well funded as we stand, so to move us through over the next 2 to 3 years. I'll talk about the Labcon North America license and supply agreement because, as I said, it's really important to us. So Labcon is a San Francisco-based. They're based in Petaluma, which is North Bay area in San Francisco. They're a very large consumables manufacturer for the global life science marketplace. That says 1.4 billion. I know that last year they did 1.5 billion consumables. They make pipette tips, they make tubes, they make microteeter plates that are used in life science. They mould these, and they've got a large manufacturing facility. They're launching a cold point range, or they have launched a cold point range, which includes BlueChiip technology into their consumable products. Their consumables, as you can see in the image, are basically little plastic tubes. They're plastic to which biological samples are stored and put into storage. So that's blood, plasmas, serums, they might be sperm or eggs. So they've gone into manufacture with a range of vials that they're calling the cold point range. They sell into the marketplace those consumables, they sell our readers, and they sell our software. In August last year, we updated our supply and development agreement to be a 3-year deal, and you can see the numbers there. The total of that equates to over, at today's dollar rate, it's over 16 million Australian dollars. It's interesting that the pathway to which is, and then, sorry, what I should say with the Labcon deal is they're tooling, they're investing millions of dollars into that cold point range. They're tooling that, and it's not something that where it's a 3-year deal. The market here that we're serving, once we actually get embedded with these organisations that we're talking to, and this is a very good example, they will continue to use our technology for the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. So once we're into the biorepositories and into these organisations that manufacture the consumables, it's a very long-term play, and it's really exciting for us. We started that discussion with Labcon in August, in about June, mid-2016. We sold what we call a developer kit, and I'll explain what the developer kits are in a minute why that's so important. It's about $10,000. We sell a reader, a number of chips, and some engineering support to allow very large incumbent organisations of the ilk of Labcon. There's well-known names like GE, Thermo Fisher, organisations of these types that are very incumbent in the marketplace that we talk to. Our model is that we sell a developer kit. We allow these organisations to test our technology. We supply MEMS chips to them. They test the MEMS chips and they actually do their due diligence to make sure that they work. They then progress from a developer kit into what we call a supply and development agreement, where we actually charge a licence fee to the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It commits them right up front, and then they start to develop and incorporate the MEMS technology into their consumables and their devices. So Labcon's, we executed a supply and development agreement in April 2017. First order was in December 17, and then we updated our agreement in August 18, and we're delivering to those orders, and we're rapidly expanding our manufacturing capability to do that. So in terms of pipeline conversion, Labcon's an example, but what's really important is that we've got 32 other developer kits that have been sold to OEM organisations across the globe. And these organisations, as I said, are family names that manufacture consumables. And it's a very large market in that these organisations cover multiple different platforms. And so we're well and truly engaged. We've got 3 executed licence and supply agreements. We've got a number of products in the market, and now with Labcon we've actually got product going out into the end customer marketplace. Cumulative chip and reader sales, you can see that in the chart there. We've been rapidly expanding that. As I said, we changed our strategy about 3.5 years ago, and the progress of that, it does take some time to get some of these OEM partners committed and on board, but once they are committed and on board, then it's a rapidly growing and expanding marketplace. Our sales numbers, last year we did just over 500,000 in revenue for the financial year. In the first half of this year, we did just under 250,000. We've already done that in the first quarter of this calendar year. So in the third quarter, we've already supplied more than, and we'll see that rapidly growing, with orders in hand for $4.1 million US over the next 2 years. The very high value target markets, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but we're targeting the general biopreservation space where they're storing samples. We target IVF marketplace. We've got a license and supply agreement in place with Genea Biomedics. Genea Biomedics distribute products globally through Merck, who's a very large pharmaceutical company. We're also targeting with Planet Innovation cryogenic cold chain logistics, where they're shipping samples around the world, and the regenerative medicine and pharmaceuticals market. So what's our core technology? We've got a unique patented MEMS technology. We've got 25 granted patents as they stand, and we've got 6 patent applications in progress. Those patents cover not just the core technology, but they also cover, we have a patent that is relating the ID and the temperature of an individual sample into a database. That's a granted patent in North America. It's extremely valuable. So if you think about the Internet of Things, if you think about the Internet of Things and the Internet of Samples, at the moment samples are not, there's not a lot going on, but they're extremely important. We've got a MEMS technology. We provide an individual ID that can't be copied. It's unique. It's put in place at the point of manufacture. And what really differentiates us is we actually can operate, we can actually read an ID and a temperature all the way down into liquid nitrogen. So that's minus 196 degrees C. There is no technology on the planet that gets anywhere near that. The best electronic technologies that are available is, say, like an RFID technology. They don't work below about minus 50. We get sample temperature sensing. We get a rapid read time. At the end of the day, what we're really targeting is reducing human error, improving productivity, and at the end, very much improving the quality of the samples, which are fundamental for diagnostic, clinical, and research applications. What do we compete with? We compete with handwritten labels. So if you imagine when you go and give blood into if you go into your pharmacy or your clinic, well, we're not targeting that market specifically at the moment, but they take blood out of your arm and they write your name on a piece of paper. That's what happens at the moment. It's crazy. What happens to your sample as it goes through and that diagnostic process, it's really crazy. They might put barcodes on the samples. Barcodes, as you saw in the video, get frost on them and you can't read them. Some of the market leaders in this space actually sell boxes of vials with barcodes on the bottom. You pull a box like that out of storage and you put it on a scanner, you can't read it because there's frost on it. Literally, the 2 market leaders in this market, Thermo Fisher and Brooks Automation, sell heated air knives to defrost samples. It's crazy. I don't know how many scientists in the room, but I've had scientists tell me that that's not a problem. I mean, I don't want my sample going through that process. So, RFID, as I said, RFID is interesting. We do compete with RFID. There are some companies that pertain to working in the types of environments we're talking about. RFID does not sense temperature. It doesn't work below about minus 50 degrees, and it doesn't survive radiation. And radiation is really important because when you're dealing with biological samples, the sample storage device or the container needs to be sterilised because you don't want it contaminated with different items. So the way they sterilise is with gamma radiation or different radiation sources. So BlueChiip outcompetes all of these technologies. Primary applications, as I said, sample tracking and identification into the biopreservation marketplace, life sciences, research organisations, all of the major pharmaceutical companies when they're doing their clinical trials, collect samples, they store them and use them. And a massively exploding marketplace is the personalised therapy and cell therapy marketplace. That's where you're taking people's biological material out of their body, combining it with stem cells and putting it back into them as a therapy. It's a massively growing space. I went into a facility about 3 weeks ago in North America. They were running 300 clinical trials on new therapies coming through in that space. Cell therapy is huge. Just highlighting a couple of pictures here. I mean, that's a real photo. That one on the top right there, that's a photo that I took personally, and it wasn't primed, it wasn't set up. I went into the facility there. It's actually in Milan, in Italy. And you can see in that far left shot, they're minus 80 degree freezers. In that room itself, there are about 8 different freezers. Each of those freezers contains 50 to 80,000 samples. You open the door on those freezers and that's what you see and that's the photo you take. So when somebody goes in there to collect a sample and identify, what do? They literally wipe the frost off. It's crazy. It is really crazy. So that's the market we serve. That facility itself would have 500,000 samples just in that room itself. At about $1 a chip for us, that room itself is worth $500,000. So that's the sort of market we're playing into. Primary market opportunity, it's $2 billion. There's over 2 billion samples in storage at the moment, and that's rapidly expanding and growing. That's broken into -80-degree storage or cryogenic storage. You got cord blood, you got in vitro fertilization, you got blood and organs, you got pharmaceutical research amongst some of the applications that we serve. In terms of strategic progress, I've talked about Labcon. The other two licensing partners that we've got is, one is Genea Biomedics. They service the IVF marketplace. They're actually based just down the road here, about 500 metres away. They develop and distribute medical devices used in the IVF space. They actually have an incubation platform where they've got a video monitoring the cells dividing when you're growing an embryo. It's a very, very cool application. They distribute globally through Merck, and we've got a licensing agreement with them. And we're developing product with them. Planet Innovation is another partner. They're actually an investor in BlueChiip as well. And they're taking us to some of their downstream partners. Our product pipeline, we've got readers. We've got a multi-vial reader and a cold top that have now entered manufacture in the last 6 months. We've got a handheld reader in the bottom right image there that's now entering manufacture. That's being turned on. They're manufactured with Planet Innovation in Melbourne, Australia. And we've got boxes. We've got a maturing software backbone that's now actually out in the marketplace and launched. And we've got some Horizon 2 and 3 IP into the future where we're developing, and we've put our foot on the patents in this area, where we're looking at having a chip that actually, when it goes all the way down into the cold, then comes above a certain critical set temperature, it actually provides an indicator, both an electronic indicator and a visual indicator. That's extremely important. And we know for a fact that there's a blood bag manufacturer, global blood bag manufacturer, that has indicated they pay $10 a chip for some of that IP, and for that technology. So in summary, we've got a world first, very highly differentiated technology, which is MEMS-based. We've got a very, very tight target market that we're very focused on, which is over $200 million. We see that we can be a gold standard within that marketplace. And that whole $200 million is absolutely available to us. We've got dramatically increasing partner pipeline, 32 developer kits, rapidly scaling production. We've moved into, we're scaling quite dramatically. It's an exciting time, really exciting time for us. We've got license and supply agreements in place. We would see them expanding as well. We've got 32 developer kits out there, so we would see some of them converting in the next 6 to 12 months. We've got, while it's still small, we've got repeat revenues, and they're increasing, and they're on products supplied into the market. And we've got a very, very strong order book in place with a very good partner, and we've got cash on hand.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew.